everybody, it's Brenda with Queen Bee RV.
Dana with Empower RV, and we are back again at the National RV Training Academy here in Athens, Texas. And we're bringing you another episode of 52 Ways to Empower Women RVers. One of our most talked about and viewed episodes so far is everybody's favorite topic, poop. So here we are again, bringing you some more information, some great practices, some ideas for items that are going to make your experience a little bit cleaner and just easier to do. And I'm going to start off with a story. Recently attended a women's camping event, and one of the women traveling on this event did not realize that her valves were open during travel.
The actual gray
The actual gray and black valves were open. It was the black valve
while she was traveling.
While she was traveling. So whether or not it was the bumpy roads, I mean, we were doing a Route 66 little trip, so could have been the bumpy roads, could have been that she dumped the tank at the previous campground and then put the cap back on and forgot to actually close the valve. Regardless, when we got to the campground, the unit had been used, and she went to plug in her stinky slinky, get it all set up. When she opened the cap to open the cap to attach her stinky slinky, guess what came out?
Oh.
So it was a mess, cleaned up very nicely.
A little biohazard problem. Oh my gosh.
Yes,
Not
and
good.
we were all downhill, so everybody downhill got a little bath that day. So anyway, one of the things I wanted to bring up were some great little items that will make your experience cleaner and prevent any kind of situation like that.
Okay, so we're at Dana's rig. What do you use? What are your accessories?
So the first things I use, I start at the camper, and I actually use a clear cap to close off my gray and black tank where they come together.
Like at the termination.
At the termination
at the end of the
valve.
sewer line.
It's a clear cap. That way, if there are any instances like what she experienced, I'm going to see that backing up against the clear cap, and I can make some accommodations to prevent
maybe
that.
A bucket
or something to close
quickly.
it off. But that's number one, I think, that everybody should have. It has a handle on it, so it makes it easy to open for those of us that have had surgery on our hands.
Oh, good.
So that's another benefit to it. You have your stinky slinky that takes you to the sewer dump. You have a clear elbow. Again, clear is key. You can see what's coming, what's been, when you're flushing, if it's nice, clean water. Clear elbow at the sewer pipe. You need a black tank flush hose if you have that option on your camper. That is specific for black tank flush. Mine is orange. I keep it all consistent. I have a check valve on my water splitter at the spigot just to make sure there might not be any potential opportunity for contamination on that black flush hose getting back into my spigot. So I have a check valve there.
Got it.
You have your support hose, your support sidewinder for your stinky slinky, and really
just in case gravity's
not in your favor. You want to be kind of, sometimes the campsites we're at are not great in level, or just the hoses. We've all discovered that sewer hose sits up a foot off the ground, so we want to be able to have nice gravity to that entrance to the pipe.
The pipe, right. Good idea.
So those are some my basic pieces that I think that if you have those, that's just going to make for a cleaner experience. So tell us how we actually go through the process of dumping our gray and our black tanks.
Well, let's talk about some best practices. Dana and I have another episode that we had our friend Sue, who is a tank flushing specialist, on, and she taught us a few things. And so people ask us quite a bit, do we keep the valves opened or closed while we're camping? So you'll quite frequently hear online on the social media forums and whatnot to leave your black tank valve closed and your gray open. And here is why that's kind of the rule of thumb, but we have another tip for you from Sue. The idea is you keep your black closed because it needs water in there, and there's bacteria working together in there. Gravity and water are what help vacate the black tank. And it's not going to work if it's constantly open and drying out the black tank. So keeping that closed until it's about 2/3 full, ideally, if you can wait before you dump. And then most people will, if they're staying for a while, they'll leave their gray valve open because they don't want to worry about it filling up when they do dishes or showers or whatnot. And then if that is what you do, you're going to close off gray before dump day. What Sue had recommended to us is keep both of them closed because then you do not risk any contamination or critters or whatever coming back up your sewer hose from whatever lives in the septic system here at the campground.
And she has seen it all.
She has seen it come out. So we decided that we would start telling people to do that. Just leave them closed. And if you have to dump gray more frequently, who cares? But before dump day, so let's say it's dump day, you're ready, or it's going to be dump day, the day before, definitely close off the gray. Because what happens, here's the order of procedure on dump day. You're going to connect all your accessories that Dana talked about. You're going to first open the black tank. And when all of its contents have passed by the clear elbow and you feel safe, closing that valve, and then you're going to open gray. So all that soapy water from the shower and washing dishes and washing your hands and whatnot is going to clean out the sewer hose. And then you'll start the process all over again. So how do we maintain our tanks when we were just talking about getting things cleaned out and vacating? How do we maintain both the black and the gray tanks?
So one of the things that is key, as well as some of these items to make it cleaner, you're going to need a probiotic of some sort. I use Camp Champ. I've used Unique. I think Sue with Royal Flush recommends Tank RX.
Right.
There are several brands out there. You kind of trial and error as to what works for you. But you're going to want to, after flushing both the gray and the black tank, you're going to want to add that probiotic back to your tank along with a couple gallons of water. So for me, my rule of thumb is I pour the probiotic in, I will go ahead and fill up the toilet bowl with water, flush it one time, fill it up again for 2 flushes, and that gives me about, my little monitor will tell me I'm at 10. That gives me enough water in my black tank to slosh around and get that probiotic started and working, and keeping that tank nice and wet.
Right.
You don't want it to dry out. And then the same thing with the gray tank. If you have a separate gray tank, you want to add either a probiotic or maybe just an odor abater or something like that, because the gray tank can get funky as well.
That's what Sue said.
Yeah, those soap particles and food particles and things like that get washed down in the sink can really come back to haunt.
You said it's bad.
So
right.
so I would treat both tanks, and you do that every time you
every single time
dump. Whether you're just dumping gray, go ahead and add a little odor abate or something to that to
so
keep
just
it
don't
clean.
let them dry out.
And one of the things, if you happen to be lucky enough to have a black tank flush, which I do here, you want to have that separate hose. This is a great feature, but one of the things that the manufacturers want to make sure that you understand is you need to have your black tank valve open when you're doing this black tank flush. We all know what we're supposed to do. It's what do we do? So if you're one of those that closes your black tank while you're flushing, set yourself an alarm on your phone. Don't be distracted. Make notes so you don't forget that this is going, because you don't want this to back up inside the camper.
Because we've all got stories when that has happened.
We've all heard it. So manufacturers just tell you to leave that black tank valve open. That way there's never any risk of that happening. But this is a great feature because at the end of your camping trip, you can give this black tank a nice good flush and then have it nice and clean for the next trip.
Awesome. So this was another great poop episode. We hope you guys liked it. If so, give us a like, comment below. Be sure to follow us on 52 Ways and Counting on social media, and we'll see you next week on another episode.